LaunchPads and IDOs, initial DEX offerings, one of the best ways to get 100x. However, it's also a very high risk strategy. And what I realized based on the feedback is that most people actually don't know the numbers. They don't know the business case study. They don't know about vesting schedules, the lockup period, and really why there's a good side to it, there's a bad side to it, and there's an ugly side to it. And if you know everything, you can see if the strategy is right for you and what you're getting into, because there are pros and cons. But today, by the end of today's video, you're going to know everything you need to know, because we're going to do a case study. I'm going to show you everything that no one else shows you and most don't even know. So if you like today's content, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you don't know me by now, my name is Jiggy. I'm the award-winning author of The Extraordinary New Venture Capital Opportunity, How to Invest Like a Pro. Been featured in the best-selling book, High Probability Trading Strategies, back in 2008, where I only used to focus on currencies, but now exclusive on cryptocurrency. So let's dive straight in. All right, there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to IDOs, initial DEX offerings. And what I realized based on the feedback, I've been listening to your comments, like, people don't know. Let me share with you what you need to know. You need to know there's a cost. You need to know there's a lockup period, vesting schedule. And we're going to use Binance Smart Chain Pad, BSCPad as the example, because there's a lot of moving parts. And if you don't understand there's a lot of moving parts, this is why I say it's not a great strategy for new individuals, not because it can't be lucrative, more that there's a lot of moving parts. And if things are, but by the end of today's video, you're going to know exactly what I mean, because I was just realizing that people don't understand the math. There's a lot of math to this, right? So currently, as of today's price, BSCPad is around 56 cents, 56 cents. So there's there's actually 6 memberships with BSCPad, but there's actually 3 main ones. There's the Platinum, there's the Diamond, and then there's the Blue Diamond, right? So at today's price, this is the cost of the top tier membership, right? So when I'm talking about cost to get started for the LaunchPad membership, there's an upfront cost. You have to stake those tokens, and then you got access to the LaunchPad, right? That's one part of the equation. If the token price of BSCPad goes up, the membership goes up. If you've got your membership and the price goes down by 50%, your holding token value goes down by 50%. So we need to have that thick skin of the price moving, the LaunchPad price itself. And then we want to look at a few other things. So with CoinMarketCap, you will see with BSCPad, just a quick chart in the top left-hand corner, that the price at its all-time high was around $7, right? Yeah, you heard me right. It was around $7 at its IDO back in March 2021. And then the price went as low as 45 cents. It's not that far off today. And in between, it's been around $2. So what you want to be aware of is that the token price moves. And it's depending on market sentiment, it's depending on the schedule, what projects are launching. So it's been very down, it's been up, and it's back down again. So we need to be aware that the LaunchPad, doesn't matter what, whether it's PokerStarter, whether it's DAOmaker, whether it's another LaunchPad, the price moves. So we need to be aware of this. So today's value of a Platinum is 5,600. Not that long ago, this same exact LaunchPad price, this membership, this Platinum membership, when it was $2, was worth $20,000, and a bit lower when it was at 45 cents. And upon launch at $7, geez, this was worth $70,000. So we need to be aware that the LaunchPad itself, the token, moves. It moves, the price moves, and you have to be comfortable with that. But we're going to talk about a business case study where we can ignore that, because it only really counts if you're really selling. And then we're going to use Gamezone as one of the IDOs, initial DEX offerings, as the case study. Because what most people don't realize is with IDOs, if you're participating in an IDO, you can't actually sell 100% of your tokens, not at the listing event. You go, what? What do you mean? Well, there's something called a vesting schedule, and it looks like this. We're going to do a deeper dive into this. And more often than not, you've only got access to around 10% of your tokens. So we're going to cover this, because I was reading some of the comments and some other things, and I was like, oh, actually, people are not understanding. So we want to make sure we really, really understand this. So by the way, I do have an IDO, initial DEX offering, LaunchPad Masterclass in the link below that covers a lot of this at a very, very high level. I recommend taking it. But here we're going to cover a lot of the things that most people don't realize. So this is Gamezone with a Platinum membership. What most people don't realize is that at the listing day, when the token is listed on PancakeSwap, those people that participated in the IDO, initial DEX offering, via a LaunchPad, 90% of their tokens are locked. Yes, it's all done via a smart contract. You have no choice. You only get access to 10%. The others are released over a schedule, literally a schedule, and you have no control over that. You know up front. So then what you'll see is that on the IDO date, the token generation event, when it lists on PancakeSwap, you can claim your tokens. But then you have to wait a month before you can claim the next 15%. And then you have to wait another month to claim the next 15%, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I realize when I'm listening to individuals, they're either not educated or I was just listening to some comments and I'm like, they just don't know. So now we know if you're doing IDOs, you do not get access to 100% of your tokens. And especially if you're in private round, this is called a public round. If you're in the private round as an angel investor, the lockup periods tend to be even longer. So you want to be aware of these, because if you think you're going to get access to 100% of your tokens, you're going to be massively disappointed. You only get access to 10%. So what we're going to do now, we're going to use Gamezone as the example. So I just picked this up. So Gamezone Platinum members, I'm going to use that as the example. Got $22 allocation with BSCPad. Is that a lot? Is that a little? But we're going to look at the numbers. What does that really mean? Are you going to pay that much for a membership to get $22? Is it worth it? But by the end of this, we're going to have a really clear case study for the business numbers, the profit and loss, the moving parts, the LaunchPad membership, moving parts, the IDO itself. In this case, we're going to use Gamezone as the main example. But once you kind of see the math and the business case study, you can see all the moving parts. So BSCPad, we're going to look at the cost of the membership. We're going to use Platinum as the example. Now, on the 30th of September, important to note this, on the 30th of September, which was the day of the launch of the Gamezone IDO, if you bought your BSCPad membership on that day or the day before, you would have actually paid $10,000 for your membership, right? If you bought it at $2, it would have been obviously $20,000. If you bought it at the peak of the market back in April 2021, it would have been $70,000, right? So we need to know that the LaunchPad token price, depending on what's happening with Bitcoin and the whole market, it really does move. It's a low cap and it moves, and we need to be aware of that. So at today's price, when we want this is the part that I was trying to get across that you need to have thick skin for, which is the LaunchPad is down from Gamezone to today is down 44%, right? So that means what was valued at $10,000 when you purchased it for Gamezone may be valued at $5,600. Now, if you bought it at $20,000, because it was at $2 not that long ago, you'll be 75% down. So we need to be able to tolerate these ups and downs, because IDOs, I would only recommend or even consider doing if you're looking to do 20 or 30 IDOs over a sustained period of time. If you're looking to just do one IDO, then it's just much higher risk. But we're going to cover that as well. So we're using Gamezone again as the example. So on the right over here, this is the Gamezone price, from the launch. It launched over here. It was down here when it began. It launched and it did this movement to the upside, and then it's done this movement over here. We want to recognize that and take into consideration the vesting schedule, right? And do all the numbers and kind of pull it all together. So the IDO price, initial DEX offering, when it first launched, when you was buying the token through the LaunchPad, if you've got $22 worth of allocation of the Platinum on BSCPad, you're getting the token for 0.005. But the misconception was, there was a particular comment that was, these people that are participating in the IDO are dumping the price. Well, actually, it's almost impossible to dump the price because you only get access to 10% of your tokens. The other 90% is locked and either released on a linear vesting schedule, which means after a month, it's released daily over a 7-month period, or it's released in monthly chunks, 10-15%. In this case study, it's 15% per month. And that's what we want to be aware of. So the DEX listing, it was 50 cents. So 50 cents is 100x, right? 100x. So what does that mean for your allocation? Well, it means you're getting access to 10%. So this is where I want you to really pay attention, because you got $22 allocation, right? On the Platinum. It'll be higher, which we'll cover with the other top tier memberships, but they're more expensive also. And then you get access to 10%. So effectively, you're getting access to $2.2 worth of your tokens. So 100x, that's what we're going to look at. What does that really mean in real terms? Because most people don't understand it. So you're getting 439 tokens released times 50 cents is $219. So for liquid, in terms of if you sold all of it at the IDO, you would have made a 10x on your $22, right? But we're going to do the numbers on a high level as well, because you're going to hang on 200. I thought it was going to be higher. I thought it was going to be lower. So we're just going to look at these. Again, you can also work out what would the weight pool, how much would you have got if you got the Blue Diamond membership? Well, the Blue Diamond membership, again, sometimes this is a bit confusing as well. When it says pool weight and it's 10, and Blue Diamond is 60, what that means is with Blue Diamond, you would have got 6 times as many tokens, 6 times as much allocation as you would have got with the Platinum. Really, really important. All right, so now what we're going to look at is, this is what we're going to do here in this case study. Again, because it's not that intuitive. That's why it's a sophisticated strategy, not because it's difficult. It's everything is difficult before it's easy. It's just that there's a lot of moving parts. So what we're going to look at is at this date, what was the price, approximate price of Gamezone? And if you sold at that price, how much would you have made? And then what was the price at the next date? What would you have made? And we're just going to do the numbers and add it all up as a case study, and then we can have a look. So on the 30th of October, Gamezone price went up. We can see that it went up. It was $1. So it's 200x. You would have had access to 659 tokens. In other words, 15%. And if you sold 100% of that 15%, you would have got 659 tokens, or $59, should I say. 30th of November, the token price was $1.10. That was next to its all-time high, $1.10. Again, that's 220x. If you sold your full 15% that you would have claimed on that day, or had the option of claiming on that day, it was $725. And then you have the other lot of tokens. This is the part that I realize that most people are not clear on, and I want to make this clear, is now you've got 10%, 25%, 40%. Now this other 60%, even if the price went up another 10x from where it is, like 1,000x all in all, you can't do nothing with these tokens. These are locked. These are literally into a smart contract, and you can only claim them on this date. And then these on the next date. You can't do anything. So it doesn't matter. So as the price is going down, with the locked tokens, they are literally locked. You cannot do anything with them. That's one of the reasons why I say it's not really the best strategy for new individuals that are not aware of all of these moving parts and used to the market volatility. Because we're talking about, the price you can see has gone really high and then it's also gone really low. So now let's just do these numbers as well. So let's have a look at this. So again, 30th of November, it was 45 cents. That's a 90x now. So the price is down from its all-time high, but still a 90x up from the IDO price. So if you sold on that day, you would have got $297 for your 15%. Again, the next one, 30th of January, not that long ago, the price was 16 cents. So now it's gone from a 220x down to a 32x from its IDO price, right? So now you've got access to those tokens. If you sold that 15% on that day, you would have got $105. Hopefully this is making sense, right? Because the price is moving, and you can see the price is moving. Today's price is roughly around 11 cents. Around 11 cents. That's a 22x from the IDO price. And if you sold your full 15% allocation, then it's $72. Now the March one hasn't been unlocked yet. So let's just say it picked up. Let's say it picked up and it moved back up to 100x. Again, these are good projects that move up and down, up and down. Gamezone does IGOs, initial game offerings. But in these bearish market conditions, everything is down. So this is where there's a lot of moving parts that are not intuitive to know. And by the way, my free IDO and Launchpad Masterclass, I cover a lot of this, just the high level thinking, because you want to prep yourself, especially if you're doing this particular strategy. It's not an easy strategy. But if you manage to sell, let's just say got back up to 50 cents, it'll be $330 for your 15%, your final 15%. So that means the total value, if we now just go, all right, Jigay, what's the business numbers over here? We sold $219, $659, $725, $295, $105, $72, and $330. If we add that all together, now it doesn't mean you have to sell. Like you could have, waited and sold, all of this part at this point. You may have hodled the whole thing because you're using the utility of the token, Gamezone token. You have to stake them to get access to the Gamezone launchpad. But we're just doing the case study of just thinking of Gamezone as an IDO, and you're just selling whenever it's available at the price that was at that time. And that's what we're doing over here. We're showing IDO got to 50 cents. A week later, it got to $1. A month later, it got to $1.10. A month later, it was 45 cents. A month later, it was 16 cents. And a month later, it's now 11 cents. So this is what we mean by a volatile market. And we don't have control over when our tokens are going to be unlocked. What is the price going to be? But you want to factor this into your business plan because, again, there's a lot of moving parts. And many people are not realizing that there's a lot of moving parts. But if you did add that all together, that would be $2,407, right? So that's not bad if you think about, you invested $22 at the IDO, and you got 2,407. Overall, that's an average of over 100x. But what's the full scenario? What's the full story? Because you couldn't just buy, you had to buy a LaunchPad membership, right? Well, is that up or down? And that has to be taken into consideration. That's what we're going to look at next. So now let's look at profit and loss, because most people don't love numbers, but I've got a degree in mathematics. I've been an entrepreneur for a while, and P&L, you have to look at this. So sometimes looking at this number, that looks good, right? That looks quite healthy. It's like, oh, actually, 100x, that's not bad. Put in $22 to an IDO, and you get out 2,407 if you sold when the vesting schedule unlocked 100x. If you manage to get 6 times this allocation, what would that be? Let's just call it 120. Then this would have been around 12 grand, right? Give or take, right? So those numbers look healthy, but we're forgetting the BSCPad price, right? What about that when we put that into the equation? Well, that's what we're going to look at next, right? Because now we're going to look at the business. It's a business plan that includes the LaunchPad memberships, the IDOs, the vesting schedules, planning on when you want to exit. If you want to exit, do you want to use the utility of the token? In Gamezone, it'll be staking. You can get staking rewards plus participate if you've got enough tokens and so on and so forth. So now let's look at BSCPad, the cost and the profit and loss. Profit and loss meaning, what's the value today? What's the value today? So with the platinum membership, if you wanted to participate in the Gamezone and you bought it at the beginning, what was the price? How much did we spend on the Gamezone IDO in terms of how much allocation did we get and how much did we take? So the platinum membership was $1 per token, and times 10,000 would have been 10,000, right? That was the price approximately before the Gamezone IDO itself. You might have paid more, you might have paid less, but we're just using this as an example so you can really do some comparisons. Gamezone, we got for the platinum membership $22, so you would have got $22 allocation. But today, the value of BSCPad is 5,600. We're going to take that into consideration. The Gamezone, if we sold it like we saw in the previous slide, was 2,407. So we go, okay, that part of it looks healthy, but what's the total numbers? The total numbers, this is where it counts. The total cost is 10,022. And the remaining value of your total position, if you just did that one IDO based on these numbers, well, you're down. You're down $2,015. Hang on a second, Jigit. I thought IDOs was lucrative. BSCPad's down. This one IDO that did an average 100x, and I'm down. Well, this is what you need to take into account, these moving parts. So when I say if you're just doing one IDO, it's much higher risk. So now we're going to see, well, what if we did many IDOs over a sustained period of time? So firstly, you cannot dump the market because you only got access to 10% of your tokens. Right? Really, really important. Some IDOs is 15%, some is 20%, but the projects are literally, the vesting schedules are designed to protect the project, protect the token price, not only with the utility, but to say, look, you have to, if you believe in the project, then you're going to have to hold for 7 months at least. Some are longer, some are 12 months. I've even had some that are like 18 months, and others might be shorter. But again, there's all pros and cons, but you want to factor this into your business plan. All right, so let's take those numbers, and now let's just think, all right, but if I'm considering this strategy, I'm not going to just do one IDO. I want to participate in every IDO. And if you look at the number of IDOs that BSCPad has done over the course of a year, it's many. It's over 100, right? So we want to look at this. So what if we did 20 IDOs? So let's say 20 IDOs with these numbers. Let's say you got $22 allocation. Let's say on average it did 2,407 in terms of the multiple to get that out. What would that then look like? Well, 22 times 20. You go, where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from? Well, if we're doing 20 more IDOs and we're using Gamezone as the case study, let's say on average it was $22. Well, 22 times 20 equals $440. That's what that cost is. All right, you want to factor that cost in when you're doing your numbers. Then it will be 48,140, right? What? Wait, did you get what? Where did you get that number from? All right, well, we got $440 invested, and this did this ratio. And if this part did the same 20 times, basically is this number times 20. Gives you this number, right? Now, it doesn't mean all IDOs are going to do 100x. Some will do a 5x, some do a 20x, some do a 1,000x. But again, even when it does 1,000x, you've only got access to 10%. Yeah, like MetaVPad did 1000x, but you only got access to 10%. The other 90% is locked. And then the price came back down and now it's maybe sitting at 100x or a 60x. So we want to take that into consideration because on paper, your whole thing's made 1000x, but you've only got access to 10%. Really want to get that vesting schedule lesson across, like to make sure you're understanding what that is. And then let's just look at the business numbers. So you go, okay, if I managed to do 20 IDOs that average what Gamezone did, and I exited, so Gamezone's been as high as 220x, and today it's sitting at 22x. So that's a really realistic case study that the market goes up, it goes down, and then often in peak season, if .pad launches and Gamezone gets allocation and Bitcoin is looking bullish, you'll find that the demand for the token is likely going to go back up in the future. But again, it's never guaranteed. That's also what we want to look at as well. So again, the cost is 10,462. I know people don't love numbers, right? Especially if you're not good at math, but I'm trying to simplify it. Go, look, if we add in the cost of your pad, the cost of the Gamezone membership or the allocation, and then another 20 IDOs, we don't know what they are, we're just plugging it in as an example, the total cost that you have to outlay is 10,462. Hopefully that makes sense. And then we go, okay, but what's the value of your holdings today if that was the case? Well, your membership on BSCPad is down, right? Based on today's price, right? It's down. You got your IGO from Gamezone, the Gamezone itself, this particular IDO. And then the other 20 that we're using as an example, would be valued at 4,800 if they perform on average the same as Gamezone. Could be higher, could be lower, but we're just kind of plugging these numbers in so you get a real feel for what this strategy is, because this is what I mean by facts versus opinion and people not reading in between the lines or doing the numbers or the due diligence. I'm like, this is a sophisticated, complex strategy, and it takes a while to get your head around, and there's a lot of moving parts. You have to know that, especially the vesting schedule, that's the part that most people get caught out on. You don't get access to 100% of your tokens on day one. So the total would be 56,147, right? Which means a total of 45,000. So your total cost, total holdings minus your total cost, you'll be left with 45,685. Now, it might take you 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 months. It might be 12 months to achieve these results. Because remember those vesting schedules. You have to wait and be patient. Be patient. And you can't do nothing if it's at an all-time high and is looking great and you would sell 100% at that point. You can't, because via the smart contract is locked. And you have to wait for the date. You have to wait for the date. And then you go, well, your BSCPad, the LaunchPad token that you would have had to purchase to get the membership, is running at a loss. Even if you sold everything today, this would be your outcome. So the BSCPad itself takes a loss. However, the IDOs overall, that's where you've made your money, right? So just let that sit for a second. So just to kind of loop this over. I covered this a lot in the masterclass, but even here right now, it's even in more detail, because what we want to look at is what's the cost to get started, right? That's the pad. And you have to know that the price will go up and the price will go down, right? And here in this case study, the price is going from 10,000 that you paid for your membership, and now it's 5,600. Now, if it goes back to $2 again, this will then be valued at 20,000, right? But are you going to sell, or do you just want to participate in many IDOs? You almost ignore the price, and it's only relevant if you're looking to sell your LaunchPad membership. That's where it only becomes relevant. IDOs, there's peak IDO season, and they're more frequent, and then there's off-peak season, where the market right now, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, so therefore there's not that many IDOs. They don't perform as well, because again, more fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But you need to be aware, the main thing that I want to get across today is the vesting schedule. At the token generation event where the token gets listed for the first time, the people that have participated in the IDO via a launchpad only have access to 10% of their tokens. The other 90% are locked for 7 months, and they're drip fed over a 7-month period. Some are literally unlocked monthly, and others are you have to wait a month, and then they're unlocked on a linear vesting schedule, meaning they're literally unlocked almost minute by minute and drip fed over a 7-month period to help protect the token price, to prevent dumping. But then you also got to think of, does the token have utility? Is there staking rewards, and so on and so forth? So there you have it. This is all the moving parts. So you got the membership, launchpad that moves up and down. You've got the IDO itself, the IDO, the token, in this case study, we're using Gamezone. It's been as high as 220x and back down to 22x. And you have to be comfortable with that. That's is what it is. But even if you sold at all those points that we did and that you would have been able to in this particular case study, you would have still made an average of 100x. Again, some selling at 220x, some selling at 22x, and it averages out and it averages out. And then you can go, right, I want to participate in many IDOs. Some will be big hitters, others won't. But the whole thinking, when I'm thinking about this, is you only have to risk $22 to find out if you're right. And if it does drop down 75% from your IDO, well, it's only $22. And if it does do 100x, then all of a sudden, the numbers do add up, as you can see in this particular business plan and business case study. So now all I want to finish on is this. Just literally many moving parts. You have to write your own business plan and know that there's many, many moving parts. So there you have it. There you have it. That was in response to some of the comments. I was just looking at some individuals that are interesting individuals, and they're saying certain things, and I was like, maybe they just don't know the numbers. Maybe they haven't looked. Maybe they haven't understood. You have to look under the hood and go, oh, actually, you need to know there's a launchpad price, there's an IDO price, and the token moves. Obviously, it moves, but it's supply and demand. More people buy, price goes up. More people sell, price goes down. And then it's to really start thinking about the longer term. And why I say this is a high risk, high reward strategy is, well, now the memberships are much cheaper right now because of the bearish market sentiment right now. But if the market flips and Bitcoin starts surging towards $100,000 and there's consistent IDOs that are performing really, really well, then all of a sudden the demand for that token, like BSCPad in this instance, will go up. The IDOs will tend to perform better, and therefore the demand for BSCPad goes up more. And then if you wanted to get the membership then you have more comfort knowing that your IDOs are going to perform much better, much higher probability. However, you're going to pay absolute premium price because you're buying in peak season. And that also needs to be factored into the equation. So there you have it. What do you think? Yeah, did I make the numbers clear enough? Take my free IDO and Launchpad Masterclass. It covers some of the high level thinking, but today was really to address a lot of the questions that are coming up to go, actually, we just want to make sure we're transparent. When I say transparent, like I'm sharing the numbers with you so you can see them, and then you can make the decision. All right, we're going to finish on a quote. Quote of the day. It is from Benjamin Franklin. Right? Here you go. You ready for this? He or she who is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Now, I'll say that because, look, all this information is public information. However, it's not always intuitive. Even if you buy your Launchpad membership, it's not intuitive that there's a vesting schedule, that the token price can fluctuate dramatically. It can go 10x up and then it can go 90% down, right? 10x up, 90% down. With the IDOs, there's no guarantees. There's a high probability that the market cap, especially if it's a starting low market cap, is going to increase. But then there's also, it's pretty, at a certain point, people want to take profits. But also just to keep in mind that people that are participating in the IDOs only have access to 10% of the tokens on the IDO. They are actually believers in the project that say, look, I know I'm going to have to hold for 7, 8, 9, 10 months. And that is what it is. So I can't sell everything at 1,000x or a 200x. I can only sell a maximum of 100x. Sorry, 100 or 10%, 10% at 100x. And then the others, I just have to review where's the market at a month later. If it's looking good, make a decision. If it's looking bad, you might just hodl and wait for the market to recover. So let me know what you think about today's content. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification. This one was for you and you alone, in a sense of this information is valuable, but I don't know if this is the best strategy for if you're brand new to crypto, meaning that it can be quite expensive to get your Launchpad membership, and that membership price fluctuation can be quite volatile. The IDOs themselves can be quite volatile. And then if you're not used to vesting schedules on a month-by-month basis and hodling, it's not the most comfortable thing if it's 500x up and you can't do anything with 90% of your tokens, only to see that 500x turn into a 20x. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world where you go, But then if you're patient, often if the project has legs and it's strong, it will recover and often hit all-time new highs. But again, that's yet to be seen with the market sentiment. See what happens. All right, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and I'll see you very soon.